Welcome to Dig and Dive with David, where curiosity is learning. Thank you for joining today. If you like the show, please share and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now presenting your host, David Dan Singh.
On today's episode, I'm very excited to have Sahra Tarcisio. Sahra is a banking professional and started her career in sales and marketing. She is ambitious and has an extensive experience in sales, marketing, and advertising. Sahra currently works as a business signing officer and at a leading bank. What's happening, Sahra? It's nice to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Long time no see, my friend. How are things going?
You know, with COVID and all, everything is going as well as it can be. Work is good, and I'm holding up okay. Yeah, things are pretty good. How about you?
Just keeping busy, with everything going on, and trying to be as much busy as I can. Busy is good at times. Yeah.
Yes, just making the best of it,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very thankful for you to come on the show. Welcome to the podcast. Sahra, could you tell me what do you like to do outside of work?
Yeah, and I just want to say thanks for having me on, David. I really appreciate it. So outside of work, what do I do? So when I'm not working constantly, I really enjoy doing like a lot of self-care and kind of like, I used to be able to travel, but I don't know if you heard about COVID. So I've been doing more local travel, and I love to go to the spa. I love to get my nails done. I love to get facials. I love to go do local travel now as opposed to, going overseas. And just, kind of just spending time with myself, because it seems like when we work so much, we don't really have much time to just chill and just do our own thing, or just to hang out. And like sometimes just doing nothing is a nice break,
Absolutely. Hey, I know you mentioned that you like to travel. Could you tell me some of the places? Because I am an avid traveler for myself. Tell me where you've been.
Yeah, I've kind of been to a lot of places, and I want to go to a lot of more places.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think my travel bug, it definitely started like when I went to Kenya, and I kind of just like, went for it as like a female solo traveler, which I think your female listeners will understand, like that's a whole nother tricky thing.
Yeah.
But it's been really amazing overall, though. Like I haven't had any moments where like I've had anything too terrible happen to me at all, really. So yeah, I've been to Kenya, I've been to Thailand, I've been to Japan. Recently I went to Banff, which is really beautiful, which is close to us. And I've been to Whistler as well, which is close to us too, in BC. So yeah, those are the places. And then I've been to lots of places in the States as well. So lots of traveling for me, and lots more to do. So
that sounds exciting. I know we had talked about this earlier. You said you mentioned you were in Japan. What was that like?
Yeah, definitely. The culture and the society is obviously very, very different. For example, they don't like tips. Like everywhere else in the world, they accept tips, but in Japan, they didn't really want to take it. And I was kind of like, kind of confused. You think you're doing something nice, or you think you're just doing the right thing. So yeah, and I have to say their subway system was really good as well. And I got Wi-Fi underground, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
I know we were talking earlier about the food. Sorry, I just want to mention the food. It was amazing, so I loved it.
What kind of food did you have?
I think I ate like a questionable amount of like sashimi. I ate a lot of sashimi.
Yeah.
I ate a lot of sushi. I did a lot of like the street foods and
street food.
Yeah, lots. There's lots like everywhere, and like I visited the Tajiri fish market, and there was like a lot of like hidden restaurants, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I wish I could spend more time out there, and maybe I will. Yeah, maybe I'll do some more time there. So spend some more time there. I'm making it sound like prison. I'm gonna do some more time there. No, I'm gonna go visit.
Yeah, no, definitely. Whenever you get a chance, whenever I get a chance, sorry, I like to travel as much as I can. But with the pandemic, you
Yes.
can't really. Yeah, and that really sounds exciting. I would want to, travel
Have you been
to.
able to do some local travel or
I have been to a few places here. I've been to Banff, been to
Jasper?
the Jasper. Yes, been to
Yeah.
Jasper.
Alberta is
Um,
beautiful, so there's lots to like take advantage of to see.
yeah, yeah,
Like
and
BC as well.
yeah, I've been to the other places I've been to is. Have you been to the island?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah,
Can you like what islands in BC?
yeah, Vancouver Island. Check it out. It's a really nice
No, I
place.
don't think I've been. I was in. I think I might have been because I was in Vancouver recently,
Hmm.
so I might have been out there. I've been to Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah, beautiful place.
yeah, really beautiful.
I would definitely go back in a heartbeat. It's just beautiful, out of this world. But I don't know if I could travel back again with the whole COVID thing. And it's a lot of it's very prehistoric. You have a lot of history going on in Victoria. There's some old buildings. But besides that, there's the Bouchard Gardens, I believe. You get to see ton of whales and dolphins and wildlife there, and it's really rich in wildlife out in Victoria. So yeah, if you ever get an opportunity again, do visit,
Yeah, kind of like explore it, like more
explore
in
it.
depth for
Yeah.
sure. Yes.
Well, Sarah, could you tell us about why did you go for marketing and sales?
For college, yeah. So I dropped out of like a couple programs before I figured out, okay, this is what I'm going to stick with and this is what I'm going to do. And it was kind of like, oh, I should have just done this in the first place because I did pretty well in like my business courses in high school. But I went like a completely different direction. Like outside of college, I was kind of like experimenting and like I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do or take, which is most people think, I want to do this program, but they're like a couple months in and they're like, this isn't for me kind of thing. But when I found marketing, what I really loved was like just learning about all the big brands and all the case studies that we would do about like Apple and Walmart. And like, to me, that was very, very interesting. And I loved doing like the marketing plans and I loved doing the group projects. It was kind of like a subject that I really enjoyed. And I just love business in general. So it was really something that I just kind of over time became enthusiastic about.
Hmm.
I can't say I loved all my courses, specifically statistics. Oh my God. But, I did it, but I got through it. I think I like more of the creative stuff for sure, for sure. So yeah, I kind of just, fell into it and stuck with it. And I really ended up enjoying it and it really ended up paying off. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It was it. So, what were your courses like?
Yeah, we had like branding, we had like advertising, we had stats, we had
Mhm.
lots of different programs or, excuse me, courses that we
Courses.
had
Yeah.
to complete. And it would be more in depth per semester. Like it
Hmm.
would get more and more detailed, like more and more difficult. And we would do like large group projects and we would do like business plans and very like heavily like focused on how we are going to sell to people, different markets, etc. So
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds interesting there. When did you think this was the right career for you, and why?
Yeah, I think it was kind of in terms of starting at the bank, I think it was the right career for me. At first, I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to get through probation at the
Hmm.
bank. I was so nervous. I was like, this seems really hard. Like, this seems really, really you were at the bank too, and it was just like kind of intimidating, especially when you're kind of like out of college and you didn't really do too many serious work or you just did internships. And it was so kind of intimidating, like, okay, we have all these rules at the bank, we have all these regulations. It was like this whole world. And I think I realized it was good for me because I didn't think I was going to make it through probation, but that was 5 years ago. So we're still here. We're still kicking. But I think it was right for me because it really helped my confidence and it really helped me like learn how to speak to people because when I started at the bank, we were selling insurance and it really taught me how to speak to people. And then I realized I think this might be like my talent or like sales might be something that I'm really good at or like it kind of just clicked and I've been able to learn how to communicate what we're selling,
Yeah.
but with boundaries and not like cross the line. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So there's ways to like talk to people about stuff, and like before I didn't really have those skills,
Hmm.
so I'd have to say like it definitely brought that out of me, and I kind of realized, oh, this is maybe my gift. Like this is what I can probably excel at, and I end up did excelling at it. So it really helped me with like my confidence, and I think that's like when I realized, oh, this is great for me. Like this is a good fit.
What other lessons did you learn through the process? Yeah.
Yeah, I think other lessons I learned is like I kind of really surprised myself where I was like, oh, I can really do this and like I am doing it. So I think a big one was like believing in myself.
Yeah, that's a
Also,
big one.
yeah, big one. I think also focusing. I was also able to focus on the numbers. I was also able to keep up the steam. So I was like, oh, I guess I can really, um, keep pushing myself. And again, going back to confidence. So I would say that's like the major like lesson that I like learned out of it for sure.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. So yeah, I mean, so what else? So could you tell us how do you start your day?
Yes. Okay. So I wake up in the morning and I get out of bed. It's very exciting stuff. So don't get too enthusiastic. I make coffee, and while my coffee is being made, I wash my face, do my thing.
Yeah.
And I always like to listen to, podcasts, specifically yours.
Oh, thank you.
And I always like to listen to podcasts about or like just the news on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and kind of like have that in the background while I start my work day.
Yeah.
And basically, I get into work at around 9 o'clock in the morning every single day.
Mhm.
And I start that, I do that until 5 o'clock. Um, I may or may not eat a couple hundred times during my shift
Yeah.
in terms of snacks. So you've got to make sure you have like, your pile of snacks and make sure you stay hydrated. And then when I finish that shift, I actually have another part-time job that I go to. So some days I have pretty long days. Some days just my regular, day job. So I love to work and I work a lot and I have goals by the time I turn 30. So those really motivate me. So I'm really determined to, have as much capital or raise as much capital as possible to, attain certain things that I want out of life, and just to always keep pushing myself and learn because I feel like I learn from both jobs.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. That's
that's pretty
awesome.
much my day. Yeah, and when I come home,
Yeah.
I take my mask off. Um, not just my face mask, but like, my makeup. And I just, brush my teeth and go to bed. Yeah, I pass out. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty. It sounds like an
pretty
interesting but
standard.
long day.
Yes.
How do you stay motivated, Sarah?
I don't know. There's something in me. There's
Yeah.
something in me where I'm like, I think I just want to do a lot of things by the time I'm 30, and not in a way where like I pressure myself, but like, okay, how can I challenge myself to do something? Because I'm kind of like a person where like, um, that's kind of what keeps me motivated. Like, okay, I'm going to do this, or I
Yeah.
have I have a big trip coming up, or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Stuff like that, just to encourage yourself to keep like pushing and to keep moving forward, and like, to eventually, attain it so that you can have a better life. So I think that's kind of just what motivates me, is like, just the goals that I have. So, and we are so young, so it's like, it's good to just stay fixated on that and pursue what you want right now at these ages.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Speaking about young, I don't know about me. I am I'm getting up there, so
You're
uh,
so young. You're
uh,
so young.
so
Yes.
thank you. I look young, but I'm not. But it is what it is, I guess. Sorry, I just wanted to also know what kind of skills did you acquire to
Hmm.
be a successful business signing officer?
Okay, so the skills that I acquired was at least a certain amount of knowledge about businesses. So
Hmm.
what type of businesses? So there is corporations, partnerships, and then within partnerships, there's different kinds of partnerships, like a general partner, a limited partner. So it can get a little bit, confusing. And associations, so and non-for-profits, and you got to learn those entities.
Yeah,
And I learned that a lot just by talking to customers,
yeah,
at the call center
yeah, yeah,
that I would work at. And I learned a lot about the types of businesses, the class and SIC codes, just learning the background of how
yeah,
businesses are started and opened, and what kind of information that they need. Who are the directors? Who are the owners? What's the difference? What's a shareholder? So you just have to have that knowledge, and you pick it up pretty fast in the call center world. Like when I was assisting small business banking customers, that's what I did. So they would call us, and we would help with their accounts, and pretty much maintaining their account. Like if they wanted to open a new one, or if they wanted to like remove people, or like if they wanted to just everything from if they needed a credit card, if they wanted to close an account, if they wanted to, uh, you know, get a loan, etc. We did a lot of stuff for them, and you learn so much right away. And you just have to be enthusiastic, and you have to take an interest. And I think for me it was natural because I went to business marketing school, so I already knew a lot of that stuff, and I kind of just ended up expanding on it.
mhm,
And then from the call center, basically I took all that knowledge and I took all that information and I went to back office essentially. So most of my knowledge about my current role was from my previous role. So here now it's more so commercial banking, whereas before it was small business customers.
yeah,
And I believe a small business is 100 people or less, I believe. And so I went into commercial banking, and they're more like, as customers, they're more demanding. So you're dealing more with timelines and making sure you meet certain deadlines. And this is more documentation, making sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and the dates are supposed to be where the dates are supposed to be. The people are signing where it's supposed to be signed. It's supposed to be signed how it's supposed to be signed,
yeah,
because they are legal documents.
yeah,
So um, it's more auditory. It's more looking at files and
yeah,
determining, okay, this is acceptable, and then going ahead and opening the commercial accounts, which I also do. So
yeah.
yeah.
Talking
Kind
about
of a
the
mouthful, but
Yeah, no, yeah, so it's more like yeah, so you're looking after commercial accounts, and you help these small businesses to be set up, so they have accounts, and they could start banking, do their banking. What is there like a process to to get started, or how do you do that?
yeah, so they would go into the branch.
Yeah.
And there's, depending on the entity type, like if it's a corporation or what type of corporation, there's certain documents that they have to provide to the small business banking advisor
Mhm.
or representative within the branch. So there's a branch component that they have to complete as well. And then the documents that we receive is for the account opening.
Right.
So we have to make sure those are filled out properly, and we have to make sure we have the information right. And basically, it's a 2-week process, I would say, for commercial banking customers if they want to, pursue or to open accounts with us. And what we do is we just eventually open it, and we relay that to them, and then obviously we let them know when it's available. But I would say it's like a 2 week process for the client coming on board with our bank. And it's not too complicated, I would
Yeah.
imagine, but it varies probably from like entity to entity type. So when you go into like partnerships and associations, I believe it can take longer because excuse me, because those can be more complicated. So yeah.
Yeah. So, do you interview them during the process about the accounts? Or what do you ask them? Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's no interviewing in the role that I am in right now. I actually don't speak to the customer, except I will sometimes communicate with them via email. So that's as close as I'm getting to them, which is like completely different from like the role that I was in before, because I would be talking to our small business customers every day, and how's business, how's everything going, and you speak to them back to back. And I kind of miss that aspect for sure, but I'm also learning a lot in terms of the background and like what goes on in the back office. So there's no speaking to the customer here, but there's a lot of making sure that the information that we have is correct,
Yeah.
and how things are done in the back office, which is I think just is like important in terms of like also knowing how to speak to our customers too. So
Yeah.
kind of like getting a experience in both worlds. I love it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's more like it sounds to me it's more like to be more compliant, to be more
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
Compliance.
compliance, yeah. Could you tell me about what? So you mentioned about business credit cards. How does that? Are they offered business credit cards right away, or it's after they open up business accounts?
Yeah,
And
when I was in small business banking, sometimes they would have the pre-approved offers.
right,
And we have, so personal banking, there's like 10 credit cards.
yeah,
But like small business banking, there's like 3 or 4. So it's
yeah,
more simplified, which was
more
nice.
simple, yeah,
And sometimes they're pre-approved. Sometimes they have to do the full application if they want a credit card.
yeah,
But a business credit card is important for a business to, not only for that individual to build credit, but in businesses, you don't know when you're going to have an emergency, for example, like COVID. So it's important to kind of have it as backup and kind of just get that credit, and to have that extra capital just in case, like let's say you have a purchase order that you need to fill suddenly. Like it's a really good benefit to have. Just like make sure you know how to use it. Don't go to like manicure pedicure, like non-business expenses. So
Yeah.
But it's definitely a good thing to have for a business. I would say.
Yeah. Could you, Sarah, could you tell me about your role?
Yeah. Do you want to know about my business signing officer role?
Yeah, sure. Let's start with that.
Yeah, for sure. So again, basically how I start my day, there's like a very large queue. So out of the queue, I pick the files out. And basically what I do is I read they're called triggers.
Mhm.
So I read the trigger, I read all the information, what I need to do, what is required for this business, for this company. Sometimes they just want to change a signing officer or a director, which requires specific forms. Sometimes they want to open a whole new account, which requires another form. So it's like, what does this customer want? What does this client want? So I kind of have to clearly understand that first. And then I go into preparing the actual documents. And after I finish preparing those documents, I provide it to them to sign it and to return to us. So normally they'll give it back to us in a couple days and sometimes sooner. And then basically I go into the compliance kind of phase. Both in terms of preparing the forms and reviewing it once I receive it back. So once I get them back, what I do is, okay, is this dated? Is this signed by the people who it's supposed to be signed? Because it's so important that the restrictions are met. Because, we can't just have willy-nilly anybody sign for anything all the time. And basically what we do is we confirm the signatures with master signatures that we have probably already on file or that we're receiving. So after the forms are, pretty much up to standard of the bank and everything is in line, is in order, what I do is I go into, it's called Host, like a computer like software program. I think it's used amongst all the banks. And I open the actual account itself with the business account number, and I make sure that it is available to them when they need to use it. But there's a freeze on the account, so it doesn't necessarily open right away. So before we even open the account, it's definitely looked at by like a couple of people, just to make sure everything is compliant, everything is being followed to protect us and to protect the customer. Right? And we open the account, and then after we're finished with that, we notify the client, we notify the business or the commercial customer, and we let them know, hey, it's available, or hey, I removed this director, or etc. Or we even do business name changes. So that has a whole nother file or a whole nother kind of document within itself. And we have to be able to change the business name accurately as well. And we have to make sure that the name change certificate is legitimate and it's dated and it's compliant and it's right. So we do name changes, director changes, signer changes, account openings, all of that kind of more back office stuff. So that's what my day includes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know, when they open up business accounts, it's not opened right away, correct? Because usually in a personal, on the personal side, you open up an account and you have your account active. No, so it's reviewed through people.
Business accounts are different. Business accounts we need proof. We need, valid, certificate of incorporation. We need lots of paperwork. So it's not like a personal account. You walk in and you open whatever accounts you want to open. No. There's lots of background check, background work, and it doesn't just get released or opened right away. It takes time. It takes due diligence. It takes reviewing. So it takes some time for sure.
Could you tell me the documents required to open up a business account?
Certificate of incorporation. We have a corporate resolution. We have, if you have a trade name, we need your trade name registration. We need master signatures. We need IDs. We need lots of things.
Yeah, it's quite a process.
quite a process. Yeah, it can be. I think maybe I can make it sound more complicated than it is, but it is. There's more due diligence and there's more work and more time spent on it
Yeah.
as opposed to just opening a personal account. So.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. So once they bring in the documents, you review it, and then it takes about a week or two to be
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
yeah, to
Yeah.
be official, and they have their accounts. And are there different types of business accounts, or?
Yeah, we have more like per account, it'll allow you more transactions.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, like there's way more premium accounts than others, and then there's like the very basic accounts as well. So
Yeah, it depends on the needs of the businesses.
exactly. Yeah, whether it's like extremely busy or just like a seasonal business, it definitely depends on the business itself for sure. Absolutely.
So, you were also a small business specialist. What were
Yes.
your main responsibilities there?
Yeah, so it was a call center. It was
Yeah.
inbound, and basically they would call us with all of their,
Inquiries.
any inquiries exactly. So let's say they have a bill issue, a credit card issue, or they want a credit card or a loan. We help them with everything. So, so let's say you wanted to get a credit card, or let's say you wanted to open a new account. We did that as well for our small business banking customers,
Yeah.
who are a little bit different from our commercial clients as well. Because again, I believe a small business is 100 people or less, or 50 people or less, something like that. And basically day-to-day inquiries, like anything they needed help with, even paying bills or like setting up accounts where like they had to have a payee, etc. Lots and lots of different inquiries every day. Yeah.
So, so you were looking more into the whole aspect of a business specialist, and they would call and they would talk to you over the phone. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So that was it's like kind of like the opposite of what I'm doing now. So that was more like we're talking to the customer, we're communicating more, we're talking to them every day. But this one is like just document paperwork, exactly, going back to compliance. So, which also there was a very, very in our calls as well. There's a very, very strict code of compliance as well. So, but just differently. So.
Yeah. Sarah, could you tell me how are the hours like?
Yeah, my hours were full-time hours and just standard hours.
So standard 40 hours, 35 to 40 hours a week.
40, yeah. Exactly, yes.
Yeah. And so obviously there's a lot of computers involved with what you're doing right now. Did you acquire any computer skill?
Everything I learned about computer software, like had some experience in other, other call centers or other, places that I worked where they had their own software or their own computer system. Sorry, I apologize. One thing I love about like working at the bank there is that you can go to different departments and you kind of do different things. But I kind of been more into like the small business side of things. That's kind of like the
have you always
direction
been into, sorry to cut you off,
No,
have you
you're okay.
always been curious about technology and software side?
Yeah, for sure. Like I've always been, because that's just like not really a choice. Like technology is just something that you better get curious about because it's just a part of like every single work environment. So I think for me, like I was just used to computer programs, and it's nice to see how different departments use the same program but like differently, and it kind of like builds up or like it kind of adds on to like what you knew about one software prior. Like, I feel when I started at the bank, I knew the most simple way to use one program, and then like as I go into different departments, it gets more and more complex. So I'll learn how to use it in different ways. I love seeing that, and I love doing that. So
Yeah. What do you think of the future of technology, Sarah? Because I know technology is changing so fast right now, and
that's what I'm saying.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, technology is just something. I believe in the future. Automation. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I think it's going to be more, less bodies, more machines. I think
I believe that.
it's
Um,
already happening
it's
at
already
Prime.
happening
Yeah, yeah.
with computers taking over
With the
future tech.
branches. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
in various divisions, computers are taking over. But and I think with the thing with the artificial intelligence is, computers are evolving. People are making it more easier. For a normal, so someone who doesn't like to go out a lot and just sit at home and do their banking, or someone who's really busy in their daily schedule, I think that's very handy, you know. And
Yes,
do you
yes.
think how do you think the future might change in sales and marketing?
Sales and marketing. Yeah, well, there's things machines can't do, like have personability, right?
Yeah, that's one big thing. Yeah, personality, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. So I think it'll be used in more transactional ways, but I think for sure, I don't think people obviously are all going to be, we are required at the end of the day. So I think like we will still be around, and I think that we'll just have to adjust to that world, to that AI world. So
Yeah. Um, how do you prioritize your work?
yeah, for sure. To stay motivated and to prioritize it is just like a necessity. So
Mhm.
for me, it kind of just like it's just important to me that I do it well and that I do my best. It's not every day is not perfect. Every day I'm not going in with like an amazing attitude. You have your you
Yeah.
have your good days and your bad days.
Okay.
So you kind of just go in and you say, okay, like what do I want for myself? What do I want for like my life and like my future? So you just have to push yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of just naturally helps you prioritize. So yeah, that's kind of how I manage it myself.
Hmm. Do you prepare ahead of time, or do you? Uh, ha-
There's not much prep work. You just kind of have to go in and see what needs to be done, which is usually a lot. So there's always a lot to do, and you just go in there and you get it done. Yeah.
yeah. And because a lot of people out there, they like to. Some of them actually, have different styles. Prioritizing the work, they like to write it down in their calendar, in their diary. This is what has to be done today. I have to accomplish that. This is,
Like a
something that I have,
list.
like a deadline. Yeah, like a list.
Mhm,
I've tried that. It didn't work out for me. And, I think it feels like I give attention to the thing that needs more, um, you know, uh, more work or more time.
mhm.
So I try to prioritize that first rather than writing things down. And, you know, so I think I like, yeah.
I find like a whiteboard. Like I have a little whiteboard
Hmm.
that helps me. So sometimes it gets so busy where you're like, because
Yeah.
you have to go through like email to email, and you can get lost in your emails. So you're
Yeah.
like, okay, you're like number one, like tomorrow morning, number one, have to work on this company. Number two, have to work on this company, have to grab that. Like I find like a whiteboard is more helpful instead of like a list that you write down. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And could you tell us your work ethic, Sarah?
Yeah, my work ethic is just attentive. I care about the client for sure. Like I am thinking about the customer. So I want to do my best, like what we can do to save time. Um, so that's kind of like what motivates me in terms of like my work ethic.
Mhm.
And my work ethic is I work hard. So you better get to working because, I don't think it's worth it to retire at 65. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, keep going back to, setting yourself like timelines and like, okay, I want to do this by 30. I want to do this by 35. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think for me, my motivation is like just to have, or my work ethic is kind of just to work hard now and relax a little bit like later or earlier than sooner than as soon as we can, basically. So as soon as I can. So yeah, because I'm not going to be around here until I'm 65. I'll just keeping it real. Being honest.
Yeah. No,
And I
that's
think
pretty.
that's everyone. I think that's everyone's, dream and hope, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that's very realistic. Thank you for sharing that. And
yeah.
I think a lot of listeners need to, you know, hear about that. And that was very, very nice to say. Sorry. So, what is your? So, I know that it requires you definitely take care of your clients. And how do you present yourself? How do you look for opportunities? How do you maintain that personality throughout your career?
Yeah, like when I was, speaking to our small business customers, basically for me, I like to be personable. I like to be relatable. I like to be like in a comfortable conversation because I feel that makes the customer relax too.
Hmm. Yeah.
And just kind of just have a conversation, have a regular conversation with them. Ask them about their business, what is your business? Like, what do you do? They love to talk about that stuff. And I love to hear about it.
Yeah.
There was a business about Samosa King. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
tell me more. It made me so hungry.
Yeah.
So you get to, learn about all these cool, like businesses that are
Idea.
out there. And I think that one of the coolest ones, this guy had like, I know this is off track with the question, but this guy had like a business where he basically just traveled the world and he sampled wine to bring back to Canada to sell to distributors. And that was his job. He's like, yeah, I go to France, I go to Spain. I'm like, oh my God, I want your job.
Could you? Are there any openings?
Right? Exactly. I was like, do you need can you hire me? But just stuff like that. And when you ask them and when you learn more about them, you actually learn such cool things. Like there's such cool businesses and like such interesting people out there that do, interesting work. So I love to just have a conversation with them.
Yeah. No, definitely. And speaking about that, seeing how far you've come. Um, And you've been in various roles, Sarah. What is your biggest failure so far, and how did you learn from it? How did you get through it?
Yeah. So I think my biggest failure. So it's not necessarily related to banking or my career right now, but it
Yeah.
felt like a really big failure before. It was my first time. I got, a real kind of role where it was like I got a salary and I was in sales and I was like so excited and it was like a super cool company, kind of like a startup-ish kind of vibe. And I was on a sales team.
Mhm.
So going back to sales there. And basically what happened to me was they laid me off with like 2 weeks. They laid a bunch of people off
Yeah.
within 2 weeks of hiring.
Yeah.
And I was just like really devastated. I was really like, just, felt like hopeless. I was
Mm.
like, man, this is the reality of
Oh.
real life, of adulting.
Yeah.
And it was so left field. Like, why would you hire us and then lay us off so quick? Like they didn't have funding, basically, which is understandable.
Yeah.
It was just like very unexpected. So that was my first time getting laid off, but I feel like it was totally like destiny or totally like meant to be, because I started working for the bank right after that. So I feel like things sometimes when you feel like, why is this happening to me? You know, this isn't fair, but you notice or you see that it leads you to something bigger and better, which is exactly what happened to me. And what I did was, when that happened, I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'm going to just keep applying. I'm going to keep trying my best, and I'm going to keep, seeing what's out there. And that's how I ended up at the bank. And it was even like 100 times better than where I was, where it laid me off. So yeah.
What advice would you give to someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
Yeah, don't be so robotic. Be yourself. Be comfortable in interviews. Be a human being. Sometimes when I do these group interviews back in the day, people were very like giving answers that they think managers want to hear, or like hiring management wants to hear. And it's like, don't be corny, like just be yourself. Don't sound so scripted as well. Another thing I want to say is, if you do get into banking, what I notice about people is that they stay in the same place forever. And especially like young people, it's like, don't stay in the same, like, if you really, really like it, if you really like that department, sure. But like, if you don't like it and you are complaining and this and that, go try something else. Like, the best thing about the bank that I love the most is that every 1 year or 2 years, I can go to a whole new department and I can learn something brand new. So if you like to keep learning, keep pushing yourself, keep going to different places. Don't go somewhere because like everybody else is going there. Go and learn things that you want to learn within the bank and take advantage of it, because it's a machine. If you want to do like, if you want to learn about auto, go to auto claims. If you want to do insurance, go to insurance. If you want to spend time in HR, spend time in HR. If you want to do sales, keep doing sales. I would really encourage like just learning different things at the bank, and like learning different, if you're into real estate, go into like learn about that. And you can see, oh, I like this more or I like this less. Like, I would say do different things within the bank and like learn more stuff, as opposed to like, staying within the same role just because you have a clique there or you have a group there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really see people always like pushing themselves to do something different because they get very comfortable.
Yeah.
And like, for me, it's like, I don't know. When I get comfortable, I want to like do something different, But
Yeah.
it varies from person to person, like some people, they just like to do the same. Like, they want to have like a consistent, they get comfortable. But if you're young and you're starting and you want to, exercise your brain, I really, really encourage that. Like, do that, Yeah.
That's a really good mindset, Sarah, that you
Yeah.
have. And I 100% agree to what you said there, is not being comfortable and keep looking for opportunities outside of where you are. How did you prepare for your role? Did you, prepare something ahead, or, did you do some research? Did you talk to people?
Yeah, we're very lucky. Like, I'm very lucky at the bank where we have an opportunity to job shadow.
Yeah.
So you get to actually sit with the person, experience what they do day to day. And I had the ability to do that at the bank. Like, if you don't want to move on completely to a new role, you don't have to. You can even just sit with someone and see what they do and see if you like it, without the commitment to the role. So I was able to do that. And I said, oh, I like this. And I said, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, jump into it. And it was completely different from what I was doing prior. So yeah, definitely like job shadowing, research, asking even the hiring manager, asking them questions. The manager of that department, they're always going to get back to you. They're so helpful. They're very nice. Like, everybody at the bank is very very like, if you want something explained to you or if you want some resources, there's always somebody there to give it to you. So yeah.
Who are some of the most influential people in your life?
Most influential people. I was gonna say RuPaul, but
Yeah.
but for me, I think for in terms of like career wise, I love strong women. I
Mhm.
love women that are unapologetically like, I am the boss. And like, I wouldn't specifically say like a specific person,
Yeah.
but like, you see women in the bank in
Yeah.
general and the ones that are in leadership roles, even though it's not like as much as we wish we can expect, like, but when you see them there and the way they
Yeah.
talk and the way they carry themselves and the way they lead meetings and how confident that they are,
Yeah.
it's so like, wow, you look at that and you're like, wow, I want to be like that. I want to be able to lead a meeting of like 50 people, So I think kind of just like having that around in the bank has really helped me like realize kind of like um, to kind of have that and kind of like work off that energy.
Mm.
So yeah.
And I know, yeah, I think that most these days we see women leaders all around us, and that's a very good thing to see. And it kind of it motivates you for sure to see people, um, taking charge and helping you want to get there. And
Yeah, and just like the confidence that they have, it's like,
the
wow.
confidence, yeah. I love those people, who are
Yeah,
really confident, who are ready to help you out no matter what,
me
and
too.
who carry themselves really well. Um, how did you reach your level of success, Sarah?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't start like very glamorous, anything like that. I definitely did have to work. Um, and basically I took the like advantage of any advice that was given to me,
Mhm.
like, okay, maybe don't say this, or maybe don't do that, or maybe um try doing this. But at the same time I also had a lot of strengths too that
Yeah.
was highlighted as well, so it was a good balance, and I think that just gave me like encouragement. So it wasn't always like wrong 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 or anything like that. So I just took whatever feedback that's given to me and I tried very hard to make sure that I was listening and that I ended up using it. And feedback, along with like, a great thing about the bank is lots of coaching, lots of attention to you, which is like very, very helpful for me in terms of growing. And just like doing it and just being confident while doing it. So kind of just, taking whatever advice that I can. And each time I did a different role, I would pick up different ways to use our technology and different ways to um, look at files and different ways to do things. And it kind of built up, like it would just add up. And then it kind of like brought me to this role where like I'm able to use all of that plus learn more. So it's kind of like you acquire skills along the way. And then when you get into this role, you're able to put it all together, but you're still learning more. So I would say just through experiences, through advice, and that's how I ended up here.
Wow, that's really inspiring. How did mentors influence your life, Sarah? Um, through your
Big
role?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. I would say a lot because specifically in insurance, because I didn't have very much confidence. Like I didn't really like think of me as like a serious person. And like sometimes I still have that, I'm like, oh, am I an adult? So like so it was kind of, especially back then when I first started, I was like 23, 24, and I was kind of like not very like, I was a kid. I felt like a kid still.
Yeah.
So to me it was like, okay, this is serious. So it was very good to have that kind of like, okay, this is where my talent is, and I kind of that was emphasized, that was celebrated. And then there were times where like you slip, but you have people there who are coaching you that tell you, okay, you need to stay on top of this specifically and this or that. And I think kind of just building on that. And that's how the mentors helped me a lot, because primarily with like believing in me, because I was like a kid when I started at the bank. I feel like, so it was kind of like going into adulthood in a way. So it was like, all right, get serious. So it was kind of nice in that way. So they definitely had like a big influence in terms of that. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I've had mentors like that before, and I still
Yeah.
have them in my life. And they're always pushing you. They want the best out of you, and they want to see you where you want to be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really have a lot of respect for those mentors in my life.
Yeah.
What's next for you? What do you plan to do next?
For me, I'm loving the small business banking life, commercial banking life. So I'm still going to continue to do that. I've had some experience in real estate, so I'm definitely really, really interested. Maybe in a year or so, I would love to do something like in underwriting or something with mortgages. And just because I did a little bit and that's what I want to go back to, is collect different experiences in different departments within the bank, because you never know when you want to do something else. Like I did small business for a while, but I'm kind of like, oh, I kind of like mortgages. I kind of like real estate. That's also so interesting to me as well. I love to learn about that too. So I would love to, get into that part of the bank and kind of learn that world as well. And one thing about banking is there's so much to keep learning, to keep always learning. So
Yeah, yeah. No, which is 100% true. I agree. And I also agree with what you had said, what you had mentioned before, that, being open to opportunities that, you never know what might be next for you. And I really like that. Where can our listeners connect with you online, Sarah?
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
if they would like to.
So
Just my name, Sahra Tarcisio, on LinkedIn.
perfect. And finally, sorry, I have to ask you this. What advice do you have for our listeners who want to get into business banking or start a career in finance?
Yeah, for sure. I may sound like a broken record, but but just like be yourself, and be confident, and don't sound rehearsed, and don't sound corny when you do these interviews. Just have a conversation with the hiring managers. Think of it as like you guys are going out for coffee and like eat, like be more relaxed. Don't be too tough on yourself too either. And that's how I would go about like the interview process. And what I would say for like actually applying for it, spend time on your resume, put emphasis on anything that's relative to customer experience, or like anything that's relative to like banking. Put emphasis on that, and highlight that, and spend time on your cover letter and your resume, and be yourself during the interviews, because when they see that part of you, they see, oh, that's how they're going to be with the customer, and that's what they like. So that's how you want to approach it, I think. And if you do get in the bank, I would say again, learn different departments of the bank. So that's my advice. And be fearless, honestly, because the worst they will say to you is no.
Yeah, I like that. Really, some good motivating words of wisdom there. I can't thank you enough for your time, Sarah, and for our listeners out there. You could always connect with Sarah. She's on LinkedIn. And thank you for taking the time and, just having a casual chat out here. And I hope to connect with you soon sometime again.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.